Hello, loves. Hello, hello. It's Hills here from the Blue Flame Apothecary, and we are in the hours before the Leo new moon peaks, on the eve, on the cusp. And this one is so powerful. Holy, 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 holy fire. Fire, fire, fire. Let's talk a little bit about fire as we come in to this energy update, because this new moon has a lot of it. A lot of it. Fire is a purification agent. It clears pathways. It consumes oxygen and carbon. So let's feel what that means, right? Oxygen, air, the mental plane. Carbon, physicality, our physical bodies. Fire is an agent of combustibility. It eats the oxygen from a space. We can feel this as it is clearing out our mental chatter. It's clearing out our mental chatter. It also consumes carbon, the physicality, rendering to ash. The only thing that fire does not eat is water. Our emotions, our emotional body, our heart. This is why the blue flame can exist within our heart spaces. This fire existing within our emotionality. It fuels and brings more energy to that realm. Fire can also create land, create physicality. We think of the molten lava coming into contact with the air and with the water, solidifying and becoming an island, becoming a landmass. So with that, all of those alchemical energies, all of those elements moving through our systems now. Let's go into this new moon, shall we? A new moon in fire sign of Leo. Big heart energy, big heart energy. The moon and the sun are almost exactly conjunct Black Moon Lilith, primordial feminine energy, deep, old creation, magic energy. Just off to the side, as Venus, now having shifted out of the heart of the sun, moving retrograde backwards through Leo, Venus finds herself in conjunction with Kali. Forceful. Burn down your house if you need to move and you're not listening. Energy of Kali, but also golden shadow. I will tear you down so that you can walk more fully and more truly into your true path. Along your true path. Let's start with the sun and moon and Black Moon Lilith, who are making a grand fire trine. A grand fire trine. Trines, if we remember, are gifting us. They bring to the surface, they present to us our gifts, our greatest gifts. And when a trine is grand, i.e., it is existing in all three signs of an element, these are gifts that we hold that are so innate to us. This is on a personal level. Like if I was reading your chart and you had a grand fire trine, I would say, depending on the planets, of course, and all of the houses and everything else, all those little fun details that make you unique. There is something about purification and connection to the spirit of self, the spiritual beingness that is very innate in you. You may tear things down, you may burn things down, you may be a demo expert in the grand soul journeying universe. For us as a collective, with the sun and moon and black moon Lilith and Leo, bringing us into a place of void, of the unseen, connecting into our full creative potential from that place and bringing more of our true sense of self out into the world. That's Leo full moon. Leo's energy is very connected to our sense of self. When we look at the alchemical pentacle, the fire, we travel down from the ether. Our soul travels down into physical embodiment. We then move over into the mental realm, into air, which crosses over into the emotional realm, into water, which flows down into the fire, which is our spirit and our sense of self, which rises up again to meet the ether, to meet the soul sense of self, the divine light that we are, and carry that even further down into our physicality. This is part of the energy of Leo. We can feel it as a completion of a cycle and the beginning of a new. The energy of the phoenix also, right? Leo is very connected to the sense of self, to bigger than life, and it's very heart-centered. So when we have this new moon here with black moon Lilith, which is so connected to creation magic also, and to not taking, you're not allowed for an answer. That's the way it's coming through. She will not take, you're not allowed to do that for an answer. We can feel that there's a heart-aligned opening up to more of our sense of self, because we are allowed to live out loud, is the way it's coming in. I like that. We are allowed to live out loud. And they are making a grand fire trine. Let's get the other players in here, shall we? To the North Node, conjunct Eris in Aries. The North Node that we've been playing with now for about a month in Aries, coming more and more fully in, but still in those 28 to 26, depending on which node you're using, the true or the mean, are really close to Eris. And one of the things that I have been really playing with this North Node, South Node, Aries, Libra, is that we are being invited to access the gifts of all of our connections around us, to bring them forward as we fully stand more and more into that I am. Aries energy is about our outward expression, yes, of self, but from an aligned place, birthing more and more and more of our true expression of self, of our that I am, of our soul self. That's part of the energy that we're all navigating as the North Node is in Aries. And with Eris there, the goddess of chaotic creation, who, not unlike Kali, will tear down everything around you if it's not actually serving you anymore. We can feel that part of accessing the gifts from all of our relationships is also letting go of the ones that are not true for us anymore. And I'm being asked, before we get to the next player of this grand trine, the galactic center over in Sagittarius, to share a story from my own journeying. I have been doing a lot of internal work and external work. I work with the land, so I am called to various grid locations, ley lines, and power places to plant seeds, which usually, and ceremony. Usually this involves some herbs and crystals and other feathers and other sorts of things. But over the last couple of weeks, there has been this really powerful cycle that I have been moving through. And I've been called to various locations and randomly have had a car for the last 2 weeks. I just gave it back to my friend on Sunday to help facilitate me doing this. And each time I would go to a place, I could feel that I was being asked to close a loop, A cycle was coming to a close. I was tying off loose ends. And there was one instance coming back around Mount Tam here in the North Bay in California that grief welled up and moved through me so powerfully as I headed my way back around and back towards the city, and I could feel that I was saying goodbye. The next day was the Lionsgate. Very powerful transmission. There'll be a link below if you want to go into that transmission and that 12D light activation and all of that. But the following day, I was then called south to travel a line that I'd traveled before along the southern coast of the South Bay, of the Bay Area here. I got to where I was called to. There was a lighthouse, and I performed the ceremony that I was asked to perform. Even as I left my house in San Francisco and began the drive, I'd put on a random playlist, and every song that came on was about death, about moving on, and about letting go. And I could feel all of this grief moving through me. I could feel it. And I performed the ceremony, and I made my way back, and I followed the tides lines inland, and I traveled another journey back up to the city, and I could feel all the grief. And then there was a few points here in the city that I was called to, one on Saturday, and the Saturday one, again, there was a joy and a message. You're closing the loop and the portal is opening. You're closing the loop and the portal is opening. And the thing that I could feel very viscerally is you're saying goodbye to California. Now, I don't know what this means yet. Am I moving? I think so. When? I don't know yet. But there is a lot of tying off loose ends energy that's happening. And earlier today, I was asked, so you've received this message. In September, you go to Oregon. In November, you do this. By next year, you won't be living in this country anymore. What happens if you don't listen? What happens if you don't follow those paths? And you say, I like it where I am. I like this place that I'm at. And I went deep within, and I could feel what the answer was. That if this path that I'm seeing lit up before me, saying this is the truest path that you can follow at this time, if I don't start walking that path and I decide to stay here because I like my apartment, chances are some other event will occur and I'll lose my apartment anyways. If I decide not to leave the country because for some reason that means that I can't take my kitty cats that I take care of, something will happen that will move them out of my life anyways. The more that we try and hold on to something, even if it's not true for us anymore, the more we push it out of our lives, is the way that it wants to be shared in this moment. But this is the energy of Kali, and this is the energy of Eris. If we are holding on too tightly, if we get rigor mortis, if we say, I am staying right here, I am staying right here, but that's not true. Everything around you, I am seeing the Wile E. Coyote from the Looney Tunes cartoons, like everything crashing around, and the only thing that's left is the coyote standing on this little point of rock at the top, and everything else is gone. That's kind of where we're at right now. So, what does all of this mean for me? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I could be talking to you in a year from now and I'm still sitting right here because the timelines shift and things change, and maybe I'm not supposed to leave the country or whatever. I am supposed to go to Oregon in September. That part I know. One of the aspects, the reason it feels like I was asked to share this with you, is one of the aspects of this energy with this grand fire trine. Now we'll bring in the galactic center and Sagittarius, is we are being asked to connect to a higher truth, to our highest truth, to be the truest expression of ourselves, of our beingness, of our that I am, that we can access in any moment, and to let go of a lot. And this cycle that we are in right now, we have a lot of retrograde energy, and over the next couple of weeks, even more is coming in as Mercury, Uranus, and Jupiter are about to start to shift retrograde also. I just laughed because Jupiter actually shifts retrograde the exact same day that Venus starts to turn around at 12 on the 4th of September. And that just makes me kind of laugh. Let me feel. I'm hearing a message like it could get really intense if it's not already, and it likely is already pretty fucking intense. I know for me, it has been a lot clearing out, a lot of death, a lot of letting go. And part of the beauty of this galactic center aspect of this trine is helping us to connect in with that which is so much bigger than us, so much creative potential, that we are able to say, I feel this grief, I feel this loss, I feel this pain that exists in this letting go, but I also feel this bright light of what is rising, what is birthing, and what is to come, and what I am becoming more and more through it. We also still have the retrograde Neptune in square to the galactic center, so all of that energy of being able to travel beyond our galaxy, of accessing the depths within us that connect to the expansive allness and nothingness of the universe. That exists for us to play with. And one of the practices that feels really powerful for this new moon tomorrow and all the way through this cycle as we move through the rest of this year is to connect in with that aspect of our beingness that remembers the no thing from which it was birthed, and that it has access to all of that creative potential, and to let ourselves go into meditative visualization and embodied practices of laying on the ground and connecting in with the loam of the earth and feeling how the loam of the earth and that space of glittering blackness is the same. That same level of creative potential of a seed deep in rich, fertile loam is the same as when we connect through our heart space or through our navel, whichever feels truest for you. And we all have different power centers lined up in different ways as far as like where we connect in most deeply. The heart is a big one, and the navel is a big one, but it could also be your solar plexus, it could be your third eye. So feel for yourself where is most true, but feel how within this space, we're going to use the navel, actually. We're going to go with the navel for this practice. Feel how your navel, whether it's an innie or an outie, doesn't matter, connects in to the life-giving nutrients, to that place where when you were in the womb, it was where you were fed everything. And allow this etheric cord, this etheric cable of nutrients to connect out all the way to the center of the galaxy, to feel through the black hole in the center of the center, and how this connects to the core of the earth, to the loam, and all of the nutrients, all of this carbon-based nutrients that feeds all of the material world here. Feel the light and the nutrients that come down through this black hole from the Divine Mother in the galactic center that feeds you, and that this cord also connects to the core of the earth where it is fed. And we're all being fed in this beautiful cosmic loop of light that glitters within the depths of the dark. This is also a place where you can play, you can start to go out into the field of the no thing and start to see the glittering golden, green, yellow, violet, purple, blue, all of the various different colors of sparkly sand that you can then collect to mold into that which you are creating. This is what we mean when we say making the unmanifest manifest. There's a lot of earthy energy right now also. Uranus is in a square to the sun and the moon in Taurus. Jupiter is in a square to Kali and Venus. Kali and Venus are also making a fire trine, a grand fire trine of their own. So we have two grand fire trines during this new moon. A grand fire trine of their own with a now retrograde. It's been about a month now that Chiron's been retrograde. A retrograde Chiron in Aries, and with the great attractor. So we're going to feel that, and I have a sense this is the energy that we're going to close on, but we'll see. We never know, do we? Until we get there. Chiron, the wounded healer, the place where our gifts reside, but also where our deepest wounds reveal themselves. Chiron in Aries, we remember, is the wound of abandonment, the wound of who am I anyways? And where do I fit in? Where do I belong? That's a little bit more Cancer, Chiron, but they're connected. This is why Aries and Cancer make a square to one another, right? In retrograde motion, Chiron helps us dig in to the deeper layers of the feelings of longing for connection, the feelings of I am not enough, who am I? We are able to uncover deeper truths about our soul, about our incarnation that we've been living, the things that we've inherited and that we've witnessed through our parents and our siblings and our aunts and our uncles and our cousins and all the way through all of our bloodlines. We can connect more deeply and more profoundly during this energy. We can call upon Chiron and say, help me to see that which I do not want to see. With this trine, and it's quite tight, between Kali and the retrograde Venus, we can start to feel how we've been holding on to old things that stifle our creativity. This is that Leo energy. And find those reservoirs deep within our heart space, within our wholeness of being, to release that which is not for us anymore and come more fully into a state of empowerment. That's Aries energy and Leo energy. This is fiery energy, creative potential, life force, empowerment. Yes, right? Let's burn it. Burn anything away that is not your truest divine light. That's part of that energy. And then the great attractor, also in Sagittarius, like the galactic center, just a little bit in at about 17, somewhere between 14 and 17 degrees is where we find the great attractor in Sagittarius. And this is a grand fire trine, and the great attractor is that great big space vacuum. So as we kick up all this ash, as we burn away all of these things in our physical beingness and all of these things from our mental beingness, say, I do not need to carry you anymore, and the ash is created, all of this debris is then sucked up out into the great space vacuum. Fun, right? I have another video somewhere, I'll put a link below, where I talk a lot about the great attractor energy. So I'm not going to go too deep. I'm hearing, don't go too deep into the great attractor right now. It's more about allowing this amazing access to our wounds, to our ancestral and karmic wounds and traumas, the things that are the through line to the core wound of who we are and what we're here to be. And this is that destiny line. Let me feel. Let me feel. We do still have Cardinal Grand Cross active. It's a little bit mixed sign. The Aries North Node and the Libra South Node are still very tight, like exactly tightly T-squared to Pluto and Capricorn. They are really helping us to break down the old stuck structures that we have been holding on to that are not what we are supposed to carry through into our new states of beingness. Through this, we have Juno. Juno has just left. Juno has just left Cancer and has tipped over into the 0 degree of Leo. Into the 0 degree of Leo. So this is a mixed sign Grand Cross now. It's interesting though, because Juno is the energy of June and of Cancer, of family and belonging and mother, right? So even though Juno has tipped into the 0 degree of Leo, this Grand Cross still has a lot of Cancer energy. Still has a lot of Cancer energy. And it's really drilling down for us in that sense of belonging. And at that 0 degree of Leo, it is helping us to access where our creative potential can rise up from our wounds, from those places where we are afraid that we're not enough. We can let them go. We can let go of the voices that have told us that we are too much, or that we're not enough, or that we need to be doing more, that we need to be doing less, or all of the ways that we have been told by someone else, or even by, like, I have a really strong taskmaster that loves to tisk me and say, you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that. And luckily, I also have a very strong heart center and connection to my guides. So when that voice gets really loud and is like, you're not doing enough, you need to do this, that, the other thing, I can tune in and I can say, is this really true? Do I need to do that thing right now? Or is this thing actually what will serve me more? And allow that knowing that's deep within my heart, that's coming down from my divine self and rising up from my divine self, to say, this path is the most true for you in this moment. And if that means taking a nap, that means taking a nap. If that means writing a newsletter, that means writing a newsletter. If it means going and working with this land, it means going and working with this land. If it means I have to move, it means I have to move. And I can say to the taskmaster, thank you so much for gifting me with that sense of urgency so that I would ask the question and get the truest answer in that moment. Over the last week, a new technology it's weird to use the term technology, but that's what it's being called. So I'm going with it. A new technology has been birthing through me. It's been something that's been facilitated through working with some of the people that I work with one-on-one. Over the last week, I've worked with a bunch of different people who helped me connect dots, because every time I work with someone, there's a teaching for me in it also. And a new way of working with the access to our core wound has come through. And I've been asked to share that with the New Moon Circle and the Members Portal tomorrow. It has to do with the T-square and the maternal and paternal lines and our true path and our core wound, and then carrying that forward to come into a cross. If the Members Portal is something that calls to you, there will be a link below. Our New Moon Circle will happen at 2:20 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. It would be amazing to welcome anyone who is called to that. It would also be amazing to welcome anyone who is called to request a consult or book a natal chart transmission with me, there will again be links below for soul path journeys. Sometime in the next few hours, maybe even tomorrow morning, I'll have the cosmic light drops out. I will be writing one for this cycle. It's called The All-Consuming Fire, an Emergent story. And that is really the energy for this current cycle. It is coming into that fiery passion, that huge, big, purifying, loving, grace-filled violet blue flame that rises up and clears you out so that you can walk more truly on your path again. Wanted to rhyme, I guess. And this is why it is an emergent story. It's not burn away and into nothingness. It is burn away into ash that becomes the fertilizer that then helps you rise again more fully into your true state of beingness. And as we all journey through this all-consuming fire, emerging into our newest states of being, I share with you, as always and in always, so much and many loves from, through, and beyond the all dimensions.